Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Sarah.
And today we're diving deep into the world of bookshelf speakers, specifically for all you audiophiles out there looking to really step up your home setup.
That's right.
We're going to be checking out two models that are getting a ton of buzz on Amazon.
Yeah, they've got some pretty impressive reviews.
Definitely. The Edifier S360DB and the Polk Reserve R100.
Those are our contenders.
So let's kick things off with the Edifier S360DB. Now, what's cool about this one right off the bat is that it's a 2.1 system, meaning you get those two bookshelf speakers, but you also get a separate wireless subwoofer.
That's awesome. No more cables running all over the place.
Exactly. It's all about that clean setup these days, right?
Absolutely.
Plus, who doesn't love a little extra bass?
Always a good thing.
For sure. Now, another thing that makes the S360DB stand out is that it uses planar diaphragm tweeters.
Oh, yeah. Those are really interesting.
So for those who might not know, why should we care about that?
Well, basically, these tweeters create sound differently than your typical tweeter. It results in a much wider soundstage.
Okay. I can imagine that being pretty immersive.
Yeah, it's like the music is surrounding you, and it makes those instruments sound much more realistic, especially if you're listening to something like orchestral music with tons of different instruments going on.
Now let's see what the people are actually saying about these speakers.
Yeah, let's get into those Amazon reviews.
It looks like a lot of people are praising the S360DB for being super easy to set up.
And they're built like tanks, apparently very sturdy.
That's always good to hear. And of course, we've got to mention those connectivity options.
Oh yeah, they've really gone all out there.
Bluetooth 5.1 with aptX for high-quality wireless streaming.
Yep, but it doesn't stop there. They've also got AUX, PC, optical, and even coaxial inputs.
I mean, that's like they thought of everything.
It's pretty impressive.
But of course, we have to be fair and talk about some of the not-so-glowing feedback.
Always got to keep it real.
Some reviewers said that the bass could be a bit underwhelming at times.
Even with the separate subwoofer.
Yeah, which is a little surprising. It seems like some folks were expecting a bit more oomph.
It makes you wonder if maybe they had to compromise a little on the bass to keep the price down and make it wireless.
That's a good point. There's always that balance to strike, right?
Right. It all comes down to what's most important to you as a listener. Do you want that super powerful bass, or are you more focused on a balanced sound that lets all those instruments shine through?
Something to think about for sure. And hey, we can't forget to mention the remote.
Oh yeah, what about it?
Let's just say it's got a very unique design.
Unique how?
Well, some people found it a bit difficult to use. Not exactly intuitive.
Oh, so maybe not the best user experience there.
But hey, as long as it gets the job done right.
I guess so. All right, so that's the Edifier S360DB, a really solid option with a lot to offer, especially for the price.
Definitely. Now let's shift gears and talk about the Polk Reserve R100, which, as we mentioned, takes a very different approach.
Yeah, these are marketed as premium bookshelf speakers, really designed for that dynamic, detailed home theater audio experience.
But can they really live up to the hype?
That's the question, isn't it?
Well, let's find out. One of the key features of the R100 is Polk's Pinnacle Ring radiator tweeter.
Okay, I've heard good things about this tweeter.
So this is supposed to deliver super precise, high frequencies without that harshness or distortion that you sometimes get with cheaper tweeters.
That's a common problem with a lot of speakers.
Yeah, but this one's supposed to give you crystal clear vocals and instruments. Each note perfectly defined.
That's what we like to hear.
And then for those lower frequencies, we've got the 5.25-inch turbine cone woofer.
Yeah, this one's pretty impressive too.
I was reading about it earlier, and apparently it handles both mid-range and bass frequencies really smoothly.
It's all about the design. They've maximized the stiffness and damping without adding any extra weight.
So it can react really quickly to the music.
Exactly, which means you get a more detailed and impactful sound, especially in that crucial mid-range.
And here's something for all the true audiophiles out there. The R100s have a high-res audio certification.
Ooh, that's fancy.
So that means they can handle high-resolution audio formats like FLAC and WAV.
So you're getting the highest quality audio possible.
Exactly. They even support MQA, which is a technology that basically delivers studio-quality sound through streaming services like Tidal.
So if you're serious about your music, this is a big deal.
And Polk didn't stop there. They also included their patented export technology.
What's that all about?
Well, it's designed to minimize any unwanted noise and give you cleaner bass.
So it's all about that clarity.
Precisely. Now let's dive into those Amazon reviews and see what people are saying.
Let's hear it.
Well, the overall feedback for the Polk Reserve R100 is overwhelmingly positive.
People seem to really love these speakers.
Yeah, they consistently praise the exceptional audio quality. They talk about the clear highs, the well-defined lows, and how effortlessly these speakers can handle all kinds of music genres.
It's like they can do it all.
What really stood out to me, though, is just how consistent the praise is.
Yeah, everyone seems to be on the same page.
People are genuinely impressed by the audio quality. Many reviewers even said that the R100s exceeded their expectations, especially considering their compact size.
That's always a good sign. It means they're really packing a punch in a small package.
So before we move on to compare these two contenders head-to-head, let's just do a quick recap of the key features of the Polk Reserve R100.
Okay, let's break it down.
So we've got that pinnacle ring radiator tweeter for those super precise highs, the turbine cone woofer for smooth mids and effortless bass, the high-res audio certification, and Polk's patented export technology to keep the bass clean and noise-free.
That's quite a list of features.
It really is. And from what we're seeing in the reviews, it seems like they're delivering on all of their promises.
Sounds like it. But how do they stack up against the Edifier S360DB with its wireless convenience and dedicated subwoofer?
That's the big question, isn't it?
That's what we're going to find out next.
Okay, so let's get down to it and really compare these two speaker systems head-to-head.
Yeah, let's see how they stack up.
Remember, our focus here is finding the best audiophile-grade sound for your home setup.
Exactly. It's all about that high-quality listening experience.
Right. So one of the first things we need to consider is price.
Always a factor.
The Edifier S360DB is coming in at a pretty reasonable $499.99.
Okay, not too bad.
But the Polk Reserve R100s, those are going to set you back $649.
So a bit of a price difference there.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that's because they're targeting different types of listeners?
That's a good question. I mean, the Edifier with that all-in-one system and that lower price, it seems like they're going for people who want a really solid listening experience without having to spend a fortune.
Yeah, you get the speakers, the wireless subwoofer, and all those connectivity options. It's a pretty good deal.
And that wireless subwoofer is a big selling point for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Nobody wants to deal with a bunch of messy cables these days.
It's all about that clean aesthetic.
Exactly. But then you've got the Polk Reserve R100s, which are definitely more expensive.
But they seem to be going for that audiophile who's really serious about sound quality.
Yeah, they're willing to pay a premium for that true studio quality sound.
And with all that tech packed into the R100s, it seems like they can deliver on that promise.
Definitely. Now, another key difference is that the Polk R100s are wired only.
Right, whereas the Edifier offers Bluetooth.
Which, for some people, might seem like a downside.
Yeah, but a lot of audiophiles actually prefer a wired connection.
Why is that?
Well, it usually means better sound quality and less chance of interference.
So it's all about minimizing any disruptions to that pure audio experience.
Exactly. So given our focus on audiophile-grade sound, would you say the Polk R100s have the edge in that department?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that the best speaker really depends on your individual needs and preferences.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another.
Right. So if you're on a budget and you like the convenience of wireless connectivity, the Edifier S360DB is a really strong contender.
But if you're all about that absolute top-notch sound quality and you're willing to spend a bit more, the Polk Reserve R100s are definitely worth considering.
So for our listeners out there, what does all this mean for you?
Well, before you go out and buy anything, it's important to think about a few key things.
Like what?
Well, first of all, your budget, of course.
Right. Got to stay within those limits.
But also think about the features that are most important to you. Do you need wireless connectivity? Do you want a separate subwoofer? These are all things to consider.
And maybe most importantly, think about your sound preferences. Do you like that booming bass, or are you more into crystal clear highs and well-defined mids?
Exactly. It's all about finding the right speaker for your taste.
And here's another thing to keep in mind. No matter which speaker you choose, speaker placement, and the acoustics of your room can have a huge impact on how your music sounds.
Oh, yeah, that's a really important point.
It's amazing how much of a difference the right placement can make. Even just a small adjustment can significantly improve your listening experience.
So do your research and figure out the best way to optimize your listening space. Think about the distance between your speakers, the height and the angle relative to where you're sitting.
You might even want to experiment with a few different placements to see what sounds best in your particular room.
It's all about fine-tuning that audio experience.
And if you really want to go all out, you could even think about adding some acoustic panels to your room.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Acoustic panels can help absorb any unwanted reflections and create a more controlled listening environment.
which can make a world of difference if you're really serious about sound quality.
It's like taking your home audio setup to a whole new level.
So there you have it. Two fantastic bookshelf speaker options, the Edifier S360DB and the Polk Reserve R100.
Both great in their own way, right?
Absolutely. Each one's really going to appeal to a different kind of listener.
It's been fun breaking them down, though, hasn't it?
For sure. We've looked at all the tech specs
Dug into those user reviews.
and even touched on how important your room acoustics can be
So hopefully everyone out there is feeling a bit more informed now.
and ready to make the right decision for their own listening setup.
Because at the end of the day, there's no one perfect speaker.
It all comes down to your budget, your needs, and of course, what kind of sound you're looking for.
If you want that really immersive experience, especially for movies and games,
And you love that wireless convenience.
the Edifier S360DB is definitely a solid choice.
But if you're all about that pure audiophile sound,
And you don't mind spending a little extra to get it.
the Polk Reserve R100s are tough to beat.
Tough to beat, for sure.
Oh, and don't forget to check out the links in the description below for the latest prices and deals.
Yeah, we update those regularly, so you're always getting the best offer.
And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of bookshelf speakers, be sure to subscribe to Tech Talk Central for more in-depth reviews and tech discussions.
We're always exploring new gadgets and trends so you can stay ahead of the game.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And until next time.
Happy listening.